We are on. So good afternoon, Marta. This is Marta Steer from Marsh. This is
Hello.
Tom Barnhart, and we are doing our series of Meet the Manager interviews with European Business Services Association. And we are today with Marta Steer, who runs Marsh operations in Warsaw and covering the region. Marta, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a bit about what Marsh is doing in Poland, supporting its global operations.
Sure. So Marsh is a leading professional services firm and really specializing around a risk, right? Marsh McLennan is the group, and it's, focusing on risk, strategy, and people. And specifically, Marsh, we have a European Business Support Center in Warsaw, which we launched around 5 years ago. We currently have 200 employees. Just a year ago, we had 100, so we are growing and expanding quite fast. And over the next 2 years, we'll be looking to double again to around 400.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's exciting. It's exciting times for us. It was definitely, a bit of a challenge with the growth during the, doing everything virtually.
So I guess you've been onboarding all those people virtually, I guess, right?
100%. Yeah, everything.
Wow.
You would send the equipment over. Most of the meetings all the trainings were done online. So really, unprecedented times, and yeah, it all worked. So
Yeah.
really proud of the team and what they've accomplished in these new circumstances.
Okay, great. And so what are they doing? What are the lines of business, the services? I mean, typically a big SSC is, F&A, HR, maybe some ops, logistics. Tell us a bit more how it's slightly different, perhaps, with Marsh in the insurance business.
Yeah. So our specifically EBSC will support insurance operations, meaning we really focus on claims processing, on supporting policy servicing. We're also growing our placement operations, which is the start of the process where we work with clients to help them find the right insurance and the right policy. We're also working on client onboarding and fiduciary. So fiduciary will have elements of, invoicing and some of the financial aspects, but our main focus is on insurance operations that are really the core of what our organization does. We do in Warsaw, we have, as part of Marsh McLennan Group, we also have other operating groups that focus on accounting operations or HR services. But I'm here representing Marsh particularly, but I'm also a board member on the group and support and work with the others that were in the same building. Altogether, we're around 470 people.
Okay, all right. So those numbers, are you doing any sort of work on the insurance risk analysis side of it? I mean, actuarial work, is that also part of it?
So no, most of that kind of work is actually left in the country. That is done by the brokers locally. We more kind of support the different aspects of the operations to help. Most of any kind of advice work or analysis will actually be performed by a broker locally within those countries. But our really focus is that, the brokers are really focusing on meeting with the clients, working on the strategies and on the advice, and anything that is more administrative, middle or back office is handled by the operations, allowing them to, grow the business. And we always say, have the right work done by the right group and the right group of people. We really think that will bring a lot of value to the organization and ultimately our clients as well.
Okay. So when you're hiring, let's say 100 new people last year, are you doing that with a number of different agencies traditionally, or how are you doing that process of hiring? I'm curious what services you're using.
Yeah, so a mix of everything. I think because we're hiring roughly at this point almost 60 every quarter. So we do have our own talent acquisition team that is supporting us, but we are also working with agencies. And we are also working with a different partner, actually looking to expand our support with people with physical disabilities. I think because we've challenged ourselves and we found that we can all work virtually, we've been able to think about kind of opening up into different channels and trying to hire people either with disabilities, but also outside of Warsaw. So we're kind
Yeah.
of expanding our search and very open to working with universities, doing internships. So we're constantly trying to challenge ourselves what we can do more. I know recruitment is not a challenge for a lot of organizations these days in Warsaw and in other cities. So we're trying to do what we can to keep up with the pace. It's not always easy.
So can you name names of which companies you're working with? We'd be great to hear. Is it Hayes or Randstad, or who are you working with, if you don't mind saying?
I can't disclose the name of the
Okay.
companies, but
Okay, great. But
that's
it's
okay.
interesting that you're got someone helping you with on the disabilities hiring. Interesting,
Yes.
kind of ought to be a growth area as well,
Yes.
an opportunity given the situation where people are not coming into the office
Yes.
physically. Interesting angle there. Okay, and in terms of offices, I've been to your offices before. It's big offices, nice offices, new. Tell us a bit about what you're going to do in terms of expansion of that space. Have you already got additional space planned as you double from where you are today? But more importantly, and that's the $1,000,000 question for everyone these days, how are you using the space differently? It's not the same as it was, but tell us what particularly Marsh's view is on how do you use that space now for your employees?
I think we were quite lucky when we moved into this building that there was already a lot of thought put into making sure that there's a lot of space for collaboration. There's a lot of, separate areas where you can go and you can meet in groups and brainstorm. So there's quite a bit of that already, which I'm very thankful for that we already have that. I think some of the feedback, we've done a survey recently before we announced our plans to go back to the office in September officially. And some of the feedback from the colleagues was that they would really like some kind of quiet space. Something that, wasn't necessarily something to relax, maybe that wasn't work related. So we might be thinking about that in the future.
Okay. Interesting.
And yeah, I think some of that was really the feedback is that they would like some kind of, fun space or relaxing space that they could, for their own well-being. I think everyone has seen, everyone's a little bit stressed. Everyone's a little after this, almost a year and a half of the pandemic and working from home. I think everyone is a bit in a different place and has, needs to a bit kind of disconnect from work. Everything's mixing together. So we're going to be thinking about that. Currently, we have, enough space for the amount of staff we have. We are growing. And so with that growth, we will most likely be looking to expand over the next few years. What that will look like, I don't know exactly. We definitely are not looking for a 1-to-1 ratio because we are finding that most people are indicating that they would like a hybrid way of working. So maybe a small group wants to come in every day. A small group doesn't want to come in at all, but the majority really want a hybrid. And so maybe some 0.7 ratio with a bit more space for interaction, relaxation is probably the way we would go in the future.
Oh, okay. And then, so you're on from September, you're officially back in the office. You must be back in the office, or it's 3 days, but how does that work?
So the way we want to start off slow. We understand that everyone has been working remotely and we still have a limited capacity and space restrictions that we're following. So we're doing that every group of employees comes in once a week, rotating Monday through Thursday. And then we've dedicated Friday as a day for creativity and workshops because we have a lot of new joiners. So we've kind of split it up that way. What was important to me is that we make it clear that it's only a plan for 3 months. I think the world is just changing so fast.
Sure.
And we just don't know. The last thing I want to do is commit to something that we're going to have to change quickly. So what we did communicate is every 3 months, we will kind of go back and evaluate what the situation is. Obviously hear the feedback from colleagues as well, if anyone has any preferences or changes. But we are asking that everyone does come in this 1 day a week. If they have any circumstances that they can't, then an approval from their manager is enough. Not everyone lives in Warsaw, so of course we will make exceptions in those kind of cases. But we're doing what we can to encourage everyone to come in at least once.
Okay, great. And in terms of going to the growth, back to your growth, if you're going to double your numbers from where you are today the next couple of years, what are the new services you're going to be doing? Are they going to be the same services, just more of them, or are you going to expand the lines of business? But let me throw in the second question, which is, what is the view of your HQ of Marsh operations in Poland? How excited are they? How much behind you are they? Are they kind of fully 2 legs in? Are they sort of waiting to see how you do? Give us a bit of background of the relationship with your HQ.
Yeah, so I would say absolutely to all the way in. I think the amount of support we have from the leaders in the region and globally is actually great. I think we're all on board, and they see, we call this OPEX, it's an operational excellence project, which is why we're growing. We're only, let's say, one element of it, because there's technology and there's different, it's a major program. And so they definitely see centralization as a key pillar for delivering OPEX. And it's a business imperative run by operations. It's not just an operations project. And I could definitely say that the enthusiasm and the support is great, and it's growing every single day.
Okay, great. And in terms of the sector, then, if you look at other companies have been set up in Poland or even in the region, let's say, but in terms of the sector's growth prospects, there's always a question. Krakow is always getting the question. They can't keep growing so fast. Now you throw in the whole COVID disruption in the business model of SSCs and GBS. What's your kind of big picture view the next 3-4 years? You've got salary inflation in Central East Europe for sure, everywhere, but for sure, particularly here. What are the prospects for the sector as it grows, and how will it grow a little bit differently than people maybe had thought about?
Well, I think you have to be extremely agile, right? You have to, like you said, there's inflations. We need to constantly be benchmarking our salaries against the market, and working with HR and the region in order to make those adjustments, to make sure that we're paying fairly. So that's definitely something that we evaluate frequently and do our best to adjust. I think that's going to be extremely important. Of course, I think we also need to be creative, right? And we need to be open for different ideas of sourcing candidates, of the way we work with people. I think, we need to be open for fully remote work 100% of the time. We need to be open to, hiring people, completely different location within Poland. Maybe part-time, maybe different hours. I think we really need to start thinking outside of the box to be able to kind of expand the group of people. Obviously, insurance knowledge is extremely important for us. And of course, if we're able to find someone that has that knowledge, it's great, but we need to also be able to teach and develop that industry knowledge and that process knowledge. And we're right now investing very heavily in learning and development programs. We have our own dedicated team to really make sure some of the process really requires several months of training in order to have the right competencies and knowledge to carry out the task.
Okay, interesting. Keep agility, keep moving them, keep flexible.
Yeah, I think it's just keep thinking. I got to keep thinking outside of the box and trying different ideas. And I look around, and we have all these young people in our center, and of course a lot of them are foreigners as well. But I don't know, maybe we should be also looking at hiring some older people. So it's really like, I think we need to start thinking outside of the box and being creative in order to kind of challenge ourselves and keep going. But I agree. I think the growth in these times is a challenge, the recruitment and finding the right talent and then keeping the right talent. Because I think if on top of the fast growth in recruitment, we add on attrition and are struggling to replace people, that causes another set of, slows us down in terms of our growth and opportunities.
Let me ask about hiring locations. And one of the things that Elias from Colliers mentioned recently in a research report was that he says that there have been more hires from 3rd and 4th tier cities in the last 12 months than 1st and 2nd tier. How about Marsh, where you said that you have a number of people coming from outside Warsaw? Give us an idea of something unique, remote, where they're coming from.
So we have a few people from, I don't want to name the cities because I think people will identify who they are, but they definitely 400 kilometers away from Warsaw. I would say it's probably around 10% of our new hires, but we're definitely open to consider more. What's interesting is we get a lot of applicants from outside Poland. And we're also very open to that as well, although the process of bringing someone over takes a little bit more time, and we're a bit under pressure, let's say, to hire and transition work as quickly as possible. But we're definitely open and looking for that as well. And we see quite a lot of candidates applying, directly from Italy, directly from Spain, or from France. So that's been very interesting.
Very true. It really is. Good. Well, Marta, thanks a lot. Thank you very much. We're going to kind of keep this relatively short so we get people's attention all the time.
Of course.
Thank you very much. We'll check back in with you pretty soon.
Thank you,
and enjoy the rest of the day. And I'll come back to you soon. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Marta. Bye.